Greetings, beloved leaders. It is a joy to be talking to you from our channel, Biblical Leadership Institute. If you are blessed by these videos, please subscribe and share them with your friends and family. Today's topic is on being consistent as a person of faith, an employee, a parent, a teacher, a leader, wherever you are, whatever you do. We all love and admire people who are consistent in their dealings. In my career as a leader, I've always admired and always loved to hire consistent people. Especially when hiring, I look for the specific quality in people because they're the ones who we can rely on, no matter what the circumstances, however challenging the problem is. They get things done. They don't give excuses, instead adapt themselves to the environment and continue excelling in their commitment to be consistent. Personally, I always strive to be consistent since I hold this quality very close to my heart. Now, why is consistency important as a person of faith? Is it part of the Ten Commandments? Is it a quality that Jesus mandated in his teachings? Well, if you look for an exact match, there is little or no mention of this quality being openly talked about in the Bible. Yet, this has been a vital ingredient for God to qualify us as great. Not sure what I'm talking about? Hang on, I will explain it to you on the other side. When I read the Bible, two characters stand tall in this quality of being consistent, and this attracted God so much that both of them are considered legends of the Bible. Though there are so many other aspects that make them special mentions in the Bible, if you look carefully, both excelled in being consistent. Let's see. Number one is Joseph. I think we all know enough about Joseph. We learned about him all our lives, from Sunday school to sermons to theological studies, everywhere. Joseph had a unique relationship with God, such that God spoke to him in dreams. His jealous brothers weren't pleased with the flaunting of his dreams and always hated him, to the point that they wanted to kill him. One day, when Joseph innocently got caught with them in the wilderness, the brothers knew that was their opportunity to fulfill their plan. But somehow in the last moment decided not to kill him, rather sell him as a slave to the Egyptian businessmen. And he was hence taken to work in Potiphar's house. Imagine being rejected by your own brothers, whom you trust, and then being taken away to an unknown place as a slave. Joseph would have definitely been traumatized in the unfolding of things. But yet, this guy quickly adapted to whatever situation he was thrown into and began excelling. Genesis 39 talks about how Potiphar made him his personal assistant and gave him charge of everything in his household. A young man in a foreign land as a slave, yet in no time rose to be the manager of one of the most influential persons in the kingdom. Then the whole Potiphar's wife episode propped up, and he was falsely accused and eventually ended in prison. Did you notice how he went from being a slave to the head of a household, and in a short while he was being jailed? Talk about a life with ups and downs. Even among this, Joseph was a consistent person. For him, the circumstance did not determine his performance. And so even in prison, he became the head of everything there, since the prison warden was impressed by him. Genesis 39:22 says, before long, the warden put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners and over everything that happened in the prison. Isn't it awesome that whether a slave or a prisoner, he was consistent in what he could offer. He eventually came out of the prison to stand in front of Pharaoh with a very difficult responsibility at hand, that is to interpret the Pharaoh's dream, which he did precisely, by the way. Genesis 41:40 says, then Pharaoh said to Joseph, you will be in charge of my court, and all my people will take orders from you. Only I, sitting on my throne, will have a rank higher than yours. You got to understand that the Pharaoh, the prison warden, Potiphar, these were people at really high positions. But when they saw that Joseph was consistent in excelling, they were willing to make him the head of whatever they were responsible for. Would you like to know the secret of his consistency? Colossians 3:23 and 24. Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Remember that the Lord will give you an inheritance as your reward, and that the master you are serving is Christ. The secret is so simple. Commit to working with all your heart and give your 100%. Assume your boss is Christ and the organization you work for as a mission field. That will definitely change your perspective and encourage you to be excellent. The second person is Daniel. He is introduced as someone who was captured by the Babylonian king after he besieged Jerusalem. A very similar scenario to that of Joseph, except that Daniel was a slave in his own land to a new king. This is how his journey started, and his excellence impressed four historically significant kings during his lifetime: King Nebuchadnezzar, King Belshazzar, King Darius, and King Cyrus, under whom Daniel worked in really high-ranking positions. If you read the book of Daniel, almost every chapter talks of how these kings had various dreams, and there was one person they always went after for the interpretation, and that was Daniel. There was even once King Nebuchadnezzar threw a challenge that he would not even reveal his dream and wanted someone to first guess the dream and then interpret it. Daniel 2:10 says, the king's astrologers answered him, there is no one on earth who can do what the king asks. No king, however great and mighty, has ever asked such a thing of any magician or enchanter or astrologer. But guess who proved the astrologers and magicians wrong? Daniel consistently delivered what he was good at. Later, when King Darius took over the kingdom, he decided to set up a team to help him rule his people efficiently. Listen to this verse and see if you can spot any similarities with Joseph. Daniel 6:3. Now Daniel so distinguished himself among the administrators and the satraps by his exceptional qualities that the king planned to set him leader over the whole kingdom. I was very encouraged when I read this portion, because both Joseph and Daniel, in two different parts of history, both in some sort of a slavery situation, were still able to quickly adapt and distinguish themselves from the others and be consistent in excelling. Daniel's life, like Joseph's, had incredible episodes of ups and downs, very much like Joseph. The other officials of the king were jealous of Daniel's rise to power and found ways to entrap him. They secretly persuaded the king to declare a decree that no one in the kingdom can worship any god other than the king. They know that Daniel was a man of faith and would certainly not oblige to this order and can use that against him. Now, Daniel was a man of prayer, and the Bible says that 3 times a day he opened his windows towards Jerusalem and prayed to God consistently. I like the way the Bible puts it in Daniel 6:10. Now, when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened towards Jerusalem. 3 times a day, he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God just as he had done before. Did you notice the just as he had done before part? He saw the decree, but that did not deter him from consistently following what his usual schedule was. He was thrown into the lion's den, and we all know how God honored his commitment, and the king himself repented of his mistake and reinstated Daniel back to being the head of the kingdom. Daniel's secret was to be consistent in what he believed and excelled in it. Titus 2:7-8 says, "In everything, set them an example by doing what is good. In your teaching, show integrity, seriousness, and soundness of speech that cannot be condemned, so that those who oppose you may be ashamed because they have nothing bad to say about us." So, as we saw from Joseph and Daniel's lives, consistency was a key quality that differentiated them from the others. Nothing seemed to distract them from their path to excellence. Jealousy, hatred, slavery, rejection, enticement, allurement, prison. None of this took them away from being who they were, because they were committed to being consistent. Now, let's take a moment to introspect. Are we trusted by others as someone who is consistent? Would your boss label you as an asset because you're someone they find distinguished? Are you someone who does not hide behind excuses to not do something, rather go the extra mile to get things done? Are you excelling irrespective of your place or situation, like Joseph and Daniel? I would let you think about these questions. And here's what Jesus told in Matthew 5:40-16. "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Let's strive to be a light that shines consistently brighter, lighting up others' lives, impressing our superiors, and being distinguished from others. May God help you in this endeavor, in becoming or continue being that person. I will talk to you again next week with another topic. And until then, it's bye and God bless you.